TLC Designs. I hope everyone is well. It's Thursday night, 8 o'clock, state of Michigan. We had snow 2 days ago, and today it was almost 50. So spring is not very dependable in Michigan, but we have survived it, and it melted away the next day. And it feels a little bit more like spring today. So I thought what we would do together is do a little bit of spring fling coloring. And I haven't colored, I'm going to admit something. I have not colored in a really long time with my hands. In other words, markers or watercolor or pencils or anything like that. A lot of the coloring that I do is graphic coloring. So I'll go into Procreate and I'll color images for package inserts and things like that. But I haven't got my hands dirty and colored with my own little fingertips in a really long time. And as I was stacking things in different boxes when the TLC Design Studio went up, which we are going to show you today, so that'll be really fun. I hope my husband, James, did you get that ready? You have that ready to show him? He's shaking his head yes, nodding his head yes. I wanted to, as I was stacking pencils that I haven't used in 10 years, 5 years, a long time, I wanted to maybe get a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for, incentive to get crafty again, get a little bit of inspiration, and try and use a few different mediums with the same stamp. So I can check and see if my skills have completely deteriorated or if I am still capable of coloring at all with some of the mediums that I used to love. I explained last week on the Thursday Night Live that Copic coloring is one of my favorite because I love the blending that it gives you. And I learned and did that for probably the longest amount of time. I got Copic certified and things like that. So I kind of have more of an education in the background of how to use the colors and what each rising number like R30, 31, 32, what happens in those markers. And I went to Derwent colored pencils and I love them. I did that for probably 2 years or more and got a few tips and tricks, did some Pinterest saving and following of different artists that I absolutely loved and took a few tricks from what she was showing us and improved. And then colored pencils, I never truly got into a great deal, but I do have fantastic sets of them actually. And I thought it's kind of a waste to not use them and not get inspired by using them. So I wanted to say hello to some of the people that are on right now. So we're talking Vicky. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Kathy and Sheila and Mandy, Amy and Sue Hintz. Hi, ladies. I'm glad you could join me this evening. And Sheila Fisher. Oh, fantastic. Hello. You have no sound. Everyone else can hear me, I'm hoping, that it maybe refresh and see if maybe the sound comes on, or check your volume on your computer, whatever it is that you're listening to this stream on. I'm not sure what's going on in YouTube yet, but what we're going to do today is color up this cute little troll, and it's in the stamp set called Troll Cricket Fun. And I thought because we're doing 3 different mediums, the Copics, the watercolor, and the pencils, that I would do a little bit of her at a time. I also want to talk about the difference in papers that are required for each individual medium, as well as the base ink that you're going to use on each of the different colored papers. So we're going to get started. I'm going to have James. Oh, I want to say welcome to everyone. If there's anyone new in the group that's joining us for the first time, welcome. And we go to the crafting hour every Thursday, Eastern Standard Time at 8 p.m. So I'm happy you're here, and I hope you can join us again. If you're visiting on YouTube, click that bell, ring the little bell, and then scroll down in the menu and make sure you choose all. And when James set out the notices for the actual streaming to begin, you will get notified, so you won't miss this again. So let's get started with, we have a different camera today too. I wanted to explain real quick. So we are going to play with, the third camera is with my iPhone, and I'm going to be able to get super close to the little girl that we're going to color. So hopefully you all will be able to actually follow along and see what effect each of the additional colors on her makes when I layer like the colored pencils and things like that. So let's get started. Let's go down to the bottom, or the head above. James, thank you. And I'm going to take my glasses off. You're going to watch comments for me. Yeah, super careful, huh? Oh, after you finish sharing. Okay. So this is the set that we're going to use, and I already went through all of that. Let me explain. This particular cardstock is, I use Cryogen, and I will show you. This is for the Copic coloring. It's called Curious Metallic Cardstock, Cryogen White, 89 pound. These are 8.5 by 11, and you get 25. Just I get cardstock.com, and it is my favorite paper to use for Copic ink. When I stamp, in order to use Copic ink, I use Tuxedo Black Memento, and because it's a water-based and it fast dries, it's a dye ink, so you won't have any issue with bleeding of the alcohol-based Copic markers when you use this particular ink to stamp it. So I stamped twice so that I could advertise with the first one, showing what I'm going to color. And then tonight's project is over on this side. So we're going to use Copic. And then this paper is a Canson Bristol Vellum. Let me get my pad of Canson. This is 100 pound, 260 GSM, medium textured. Okay, so it's a board for pencil, pen, pastel, and charcoal. And then I just cut a piece off, and we are going to use the VersaFine Black because it is a pigment ink for fine detail, and I wanted to try it out with the actual colored pencils that I'm going to use. This is a 100 pound, 260 GSM, medium textured Bristol vellum paper. So it's pretty smooth. It's got tiny toothish in it, but it is pretty smooth, and I like it to be a little smooth when I use pencils. So that is what the black ink that I used for that. And then last but not least is the watercolor. And what I used is the Arches Aquarelle watercolor. I can't see any comments, so I don't know if anyone is asking any questions. But I'll have Jim get to them as soon as he's done sharing. This is the, that just says size. Oh, 300 GM and 140 pound. The grain is satin. It's pretty smooth as well. It's got a little bit of a tooth, not very much. It's a little bit grainy, but it feels really nice. Excuse me. Goodness. Okay, there we are. I can see me now. So I hope the papers showed up in the middle of the camera so that everyone can kind of see what it is that we're using. And with watercolor, I used the VersaFine because it is oil-based and it's a pigment ink. So none of your water from the brush that you use is going to smear or move that black ink around. Do you see if anybody had any comments while you were sharing, James? Kathy can hear, so that's good. Oh, thank you, Sue. It's not naturally like this. I do a lot of work to get my hair straightened. Last week I showered and let it air dry, and that's what my hair actually looks like in real life. Went to another site, and now I do. Oh, okay. So someone had to switch sites. All good here. Great tips with putting info in the back. I should do that when we practice stamps so I can remember. Yes, actually, thank you, Sue. Bless you. The live isn't showing on the creative sharing group, James. Melanie says it's not there. Could you try and share it there again? Just in case. Wasn't having the watercolors. I do know much about them, though. Very excited to see what you do. Oh, fantastic. Well, you know, everybody chooses the, what's the matter, honey?
Nothing.
It won't share there? Or you see it there?
I don't know.
Okay, well, just try and share it there so that the customers...
It says it's going out there.
Melanie, why don't you do me a favor and check again and see if it's on there now. Maybe it's been moved or maybe it started late. He's going to double check. So yes, I wrote down all of the information so that I could remind everyone what it is that I use. That is the description of the papers. I am going to do the Copic coloring first. Okay, take my glasses off now. I can't see any of the comments, but I will try and definitely I catch up with the comments afterward anyway. So we are going to use the colors 10 years ago when I used to color skin with Copic ink. I used
It's there.
Okay, well, Melanie, I hope it's there now for you. James says that it is playing there. Although that could just be the reminder page, James. That's the reminder.
That's a different one.
It should be playing like me live someplace. Yeah. So why don't you try and share there once more?
I can't. It's already been going out there.
Just like you shared to the other groups, go ahead and try it one more time. So, because it is just a group, it's just like Stamp Junkies or whatever, Stamp Addicts, places like that. Just try and get it over there. He's going to work on that. But I'm going to use E000, E00, E04 for underneath bangs and things like that. James, I need to use the other camera to get close, please. He's going to use the third camera and zoom in. Okay, and I can only see over there because you're going to share. So we are going to get started in color with E000 first. This is the first layer of alcohol ink that I'm going to put down. And I'm just going to cover the entire face. I filled these last night too, so they're nice and juicy. Always works so much better. You should have seen me struggling with the ink last night because I haven't used my, I don't know that they completely dry out, but something happened to them that I wasn't very happy with because I haven't used them in such a long time. So I refilled all my, and put some new nibs on a few of them too. All my markers that I was going to use today. I probably should have finished the entire bag and just done the whole thing, but I didn't. So there's E000. I'm going to go a little bit darker and begin to go in towards the center of the face with the darker color, but not all the way to the center, so that we kind of have some of the light colors still radiating from the center of the skin.
It's there now.
Oh, it's there now, ladies. So if you have anybody that you wanted to invite to come and join us, hopefully they will apply for getting in that group and I can get them approved tonight and we can do a little bit of rewatching. Okay. So that's all I did was really lightly go across the edge. Now I'm going to go back to the 000 and just blend around where I left some of that really flashy light color so that I don't have any strong, super strong lines. I don't want that. Okay. Now, this E04 is a really strong color, ladies, but it adds a ton. James, is there any way of lightening the color with this particular camera or no? No, okay. So I'm just going to go like this, right underneath the bangs, and real fast, while it's still juicy and wet, I'm going to use E21 and dullen the line that E04 gives you. Just going across that line that's between the E04 and the E21. And I do it fast because that liquid is still pretty pliable. It's something that, let me turn this and make sure I'm still in the camera. If you let it dry too long, it's hard to get that line out.
No, this is a close-up. Looks great.
The close-up looks good? Oh, good. Who said that?
No.
Mel? James, your shoulder's in the way. I can't see what I'm doing. Unless you can add that picture to the screen over on my right. Can you put that picture?
It's coming.
Okay. Ladies, you guys need to send him something to cheer him up. He's having a rough day, I think. Something's going on that we haven't had a chance to talk about because he comes right to this live with me. He's 00 right after work, and I'm not sure what's going on. He's a little cranky. Dinner smells good. So I'm going to use E21 right over where I had previous colored and give it a little bit on the edges. And then I'm going to come back in with E000. And we're done with the skin. Mostly face. There, you know, I really like these images because there is enough room to get some color in here. I do a little bit of E4. Still under here. Right under. And right next to some of this skin that might be the most shadowed by the sun. And in the ear. Right close to the edge of the face. And then E21 kind of keeps it a little flashy looking and allows you to spread that color pretty easily. Anyway, there's enough room in here to actually add all of this little detail, which some of the images that are out right now and super, super popular aren't big enough to color with any detail, which is the only reason I color. To put that detail in there. I'm not going to worry about whether or not that bled into the hair because I learned last night when I colored the other one that the red covers everything anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it. Now,
I didn't realize how much layering and blending you need to do to get this look.
I hope everybody can see what I did there. And then I'm going to use I'll show you R20 and R30. R20 is the darker of the two. And I'm going to come from this edge. And color her cheeks. I do like a little bit of pinks in the flesh tone because let's face it, we do have a little bit of pink in our flesh. And then R30 is going to take and blend that line a little bit into the cheeky. She's so cheeky. Just don't want any sharp, abrasive little lines. There. She's done. Isn't she sweet? I think I can bring her closer. Look how sweet. Okay. So let's do the hair. Let's talk hair. I wanted them to be redheaded. So E08, E19, and I know, ladies, that these are not reds, but I love when you put these three color combinations together because it's just beautiful. Let's start with E08, and we are just going to go down, following the lines of the hair. I have to keep blinking because I can't color with my glasses on anymore. And I can barely see what I'm doing with my glasses off. So we are just going to halfway down. I kind of want the shadow to be in the center. And we're going to go up from the little headband she's wearing, like that. Use the very tip of your marker. Okay, and then we're going to color all of this in. I don't want to move it because I want you guys to see what it looks like. Down, down. And then up a little. Up a little. Like that. Down. Reds are very hard to move with the zero. Is anybody asking any questions, James, or comments? Huh?
I've answered.
You answered? Thank you, dear. Are they making you feel better? Did anybody say anything to make you feel better?
No.
They didn't. Poor Jim. So, anyway, I was saying reds don't move very well with the zero pen. So if you mess up with the reds, you're going to have to put a sequins over it or do something really fancy schmancy.
Or start all over.
We don't start over. We just fix it. I don't believe in starting over with this. There. Then we're going to put a little bit of red in, not too much, in the ponytails. And then we're going to go, I'm going to turn her around so that.
Sue just got an on light with the magnifier. She says, what a difference.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Sue, that's a nice idea. I wish I could do something like that and still do the lives with it. I'd be able to see what the heck I was doing. But like I said, I very rarely color anymore. Actually, one of the design team members, Melanie, she's like, how long has it been since you colored? It's been a really long time since you colored, didn't you, Mel? You're like, I know what you do, and it isn't coloring. No, I haven't colored in forever. I used to color.
Amy says she's not going to call me Tom tonight.
Well, that's good. Figured out your name, did she? Woohoo! Good girl, Amy. Okay. Yeah, his name's James. So we're just following the hair. Like so. We want to kind of leave a little bit of white in the center areas. Cover that up. We're going to go to E19. The objective with each individual darker color
It's like riding a bike. You pick where to begin.
right? And it was so funny because I was coloring while I was in my recliner chair last night. And I asked James to grab me specific colors of Copic ink from like the crafting area. Because it's in my dining room / house. The craft area is. And the studio. And I asked him very specifically for, this pen, E00, E19, E08. He's like, how do you know which pens to ask for? And I'm like, because I colored for 10 or 15 years with them and I know what I like. A lot of people don't use E21 and E04 in the skins. And that's great. I mean, each individual artist needs to express themselves and find joy in what they're doing the way that they want to do it. I'm not here to pressure anybody to do it just my way. I mean, that'd be no fun. So my objective today is to get a little bit of practice and see for myself. We're just barely going up this edge. We do want to kind of color in a little bit of that white. See for ourselves what the difference is between the different mediums. And, like crack out the mediums, dust them off, and use them. I have so much stuff that you get kind of guilty feelings for not, for having this stuff. You spend a fortune getting this stuff. And I like to collect things that I want to try, and then they sit and sit and sit. and I go and start a business and never get to try them. So I just wanted to see what kind of real difference I could make if I used one over the other medium. And you ladies, I make with dyes almost every week, and I do a little bit of stamping and show some techniques that maybe are new. So why not make sure that you understand how easy coloring can be, depending on whether or not you have a medium that you enjoy.
And all you said is finding most people flick away from them. And she says she colors just like you.
Flick towards it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. For some reason.
She's comfortable with flicking towards herself.
Yeah, me too. The pen works better for me. So with E29, I'm just going to barely flick, because I just want that dark color right where the shading is going to go. And you want it to look like hair. So you flick.
Going with Copics, going from dark first and light is probably the way to go. But then it also depends on the medium. Like if I color with pencil, I will start light to go dark and back to light.
Yeah, with
again.
pencil I did too. When I did it last night, I definitely started with the light color.
You got to go back and highlight. So you got
With
the light.
Copic, I think I do the light first, because then I kind of know where I want to make sure that the shading is going to go. And once you get to the darkest color and you have it added to your project, the darkest color, then you go backward and reused the middle one and then the lightest. With Copic coloring too, ladies, you want to kind of try and choose 3 colors that will coordinate, and so you're blending with 3 different tones of the same color. So pick 3. Oh, and I was going to show you what I use to choose colors. I'm going to show you that too. I'll just grab this real quick. So as I was, could you go to the other camera, please, sweetheart? Oh, not that one. There you go. So as I collected Copic ink, there was a long time ago when I actually started buying, I'm going to sneeze again. Sorry. Must be allergies again. But each pen that I got, I just like filled in this little thing so I could go through and just pick which color tone I want. It's really important to be able to physically see on cryogen paper. I printed this, and then when I colored it in, I'll know what it looks like if I choose the individual color. So color charts are really important. I did the same thing for the Prisma. I have a Prisma watercolor pencil hair skin tone set, and I did the same sort of color chart for that. And then the pencils that are watercolors, is my Derwent set. And I also used a little bit of the Stampin' Up set because there was not like a super pretty pink. You can see how well this is loved. 20 years ago, I started off with Stampin' Up, and this is a watercolor pencil from that set. It's almost gone. I'm going to die when that leaves. But those are really loved color pencils, the ones from Stampin' Up. And I love the Derwent as well. I just didn't get an opportunity to use them as much as I would have liked. Like I said earlier in the advertisement, there was one of the women on Pinterest. I don't remember who it is now. It's A Crafters, created by A Crafters Healy someone. And she would post this awesome chart on her Pinterest page and tell you what skin tones she used versus hair. So like saddle brown and baked earth and carmine pink and crimson were all used in the skin of this girl. So I did a small collection of these as well so that I could see, because I fell in love with how it looked, then I could practice with what she was using. So it was very informative. It was a great site. I don't even know if it's still there or not, but I loved it. So I'm going to go back to the E08, and I'm just going to pull some of that E29 down just a little bit more so I don't have a ton of lines that don't look very well, don't look very good. Strict lines in hair do not make it look right, in my opinion. I'm going to turn this over. Can you go back to the super close view, please? We're going to have to maybe get another camera, James, so that we can lighten this view up. Another one of these, whatever these are called. And so we can use 3 cameras for when we need to get super close. Isn't that nice? Do you ladies like it when it's really close and you can see? Is anybody answering?
Great camera work. It looks great, honey.
Okay, good. Who said that?
Students.
Awesome. So then I'm going to do the same thing and kind of pull that E29 into itself with the E08. You can see it's just a sloppy little pull of that
Everybody
color.
loves close up.
Huh?
Everybody loves close up.
Oh, good. There. I want to leave that just like that. And now one of the tricks that I use, cannot tell you if it's right or wrong, but it is what I use. I'm going to get my paper towel. This should be nice and juicy as well. So we all know that the zero marker moves this ink. Wherever you choose to use it, will take some of that ink off.
She just says I just use what looks good. When it gets technical, I don't enjoy it that much.
Yeah, coloring is not something that is for everyone. It does take a lot longer than putting a simple project together, but it's therapeutic for me. I love it. It's like when you fussy cut. So what I'm doing here, blending a little, but taking color out so that you kind of get these highlights. I don't know if you let me lift this up and get it closer to the camera so you can really see what that does.
So the 00 pen has no color, right?
The zero is it's colorless, and it's just alcohol, I think. So I'm going to, the trick of this is to just stay in one line. Decide where you want to put the shading or the hollow look on the hair. And just take the color off. Now each time I make a swipe, I dab onto this so that I'm not spreading that dark red color. It's my hand in the way, I'm sorry. Just want to take a little bit of that color and push it off. And that's it. Copic is done.
Your troll girl reminds me of my granddaughter.
My what?
Your troll girl.
Oh.
My granddaughter.
Does your granddaughter have red hair? Who said that?
Amy.
She redheaded? I had some cousins that had red hair. There we go. Done and done. Oh, I forgot to do this last night too. It was the funniest little thing. I'm gonna give her a tongue, a red tongue. I forgot to do it on this girl. Oh, I can do it now. So there.
Reddish brown here.
Reddish brown. That's awesome. Auburn. Okay, so that is the Copic ink coloring of skin and hair. And then what I did was took one of my white gel pens and just kind of fancy schmancy it up. I don't know if you use schmancy much, but that's all I did. So let's move on to watercolors, my least favorites. We're going to do that last. No, pencil is my least favorite. So let me get the Copic ink and put it away. Oh, I did the same exact technique with R81, 83, and 85 for this flower and the little headband, and those are super simple, but we won't need to do those today. Get these Copic markers out of my way.
What a difference it makes when you add.
Huh?
What a difference it makes when you added the gel pen.
Oh, you like it? Did they like it, or? It's a little messy. I did it super fast, and like I said, I didn't do it at the craft desk, so it was a little bit less sturdy than usual, but All right, so we're going to move to watercolor. Water. I think I soaked up that water. Oh, no, I didn't. I put those in the wrong spot, didn't I, James?
Yes, you did.
Now the ink cartridges, 2 ink cartridges are now on the floor. That's fantastic. Okay. We're just going to ignore it. Here's the pencils. I'm going to move them over to the
I
right.
have a niece right here. Her name is Storm.
Wow, that's a cute name. Didn't one of the movie stars name their children Starbright or something? So we are moving on to the colored pencils.
She
And
says, don't drink the water.
don't drink the water. Oh my goodness. Is there anybody new in YouTube that we need to say hi to? I want to make sure I welcome everybody to the group.
That I haven't seen yet.
I am going to use Baked Earth and Saddle Brown Derwent. And I know there was I think this one might be Derwent also.
Amy says, I just bought a set of Crayola colored pencils that are colors of the world. It's 20 shades of skin colors.
Wow.
I didn't get them all play.
So,
Prisma colors.
yeah.
I have to say the Prisma are better than Crayola.
Well, I like the I have this set of Prima for pencil and hair skin tones, and I love these. These work really, really well. This one is 09, and this one is
I always
1.
had trouble blending the Crayola pencils.
It wasn't maybe creamy enough.
Maybe.
I know with watercolors, this is watercolor anyway. This is watercolor pencil.
Right.
So I'm going to use this brush that has the tube that holds the water in, and it is a medium brush. I wonder if it says who makes this particular one. I don't think it does, but this is what I'm going to use to blend the colors once I put them on. Anyway, I'm going to use the Super Pale 09 from Prima Marketing Watercolor Skin and Hair Tone Set and 101. And then I'm going to use, this is Saddle Brown and Baked Earth, and they are from the Derwent ink pens. So we're going to start with the lightest color, and this is like a peach kind of color. So we're not going to push hard because this stuff spreads. This is like really super creamy, James. You would probably love this watercolor set because it just feels like butter when it comes out. I'm just going to color a little bit from the edge.
But it's a paint, not a pencil.
It's a paint, yes. I do have Ulta new watercolor paint sets and things like that, but this gives me so much more control. It kind of scares me to have an entire little bucket thing full of colors that are wet and ready to use. And what if it gets too dark? What if it like smears all over everywhere? I don't know.
So let them know that you're using watercolor pencils.
They know. This is
because Kathy was asking.
Oh, okay. So this is
color pencils.
It's called Julie Netting by Prima watercolor pencils, hair and skin tones. So once I add water to this, it will actually blend like you would get from a watercolor paint. Let me make sure I'm still in the camera. So I'm just going to put some of this super pale pink down.
You can't get this detail with regular watercolors paint. No, that you can't. With
Well, you could if you're an artist that does it all the time, but let's face it, I am not that. So you can see now what the water does is dissolve the actual pigment that's inside the pencil itself. So the pencil is a dried form of pigment paint. It comes out a little chalky like a colored pencil would. But when you add water to it, it dissolves and becomes fluidly paint. So I'm just going to, and I'll show you this up close. So you can see and my pencils are rolling. So you can see how watercoloring it looks versus the pencil coloring. It doesn't look chalky now that I've added the water to it. I did forget the ears. I'm trying to stay off to the side so that the light can really shine. All right. Let me show you the ears. Once I haven't added the water, you can see it kind of looks sandy and grainy like a pencil would. And then once I add the water.
Have you ever done pencils with Gamma?
Yes, and that's what we're going to use with the colored pencils. I have it out already, ready to use. So we're going to do that tonight, whoever asked.
That was Vicky.
Huh?
Vicky Gallagher.
Okay. Yep, we're going to do that tonight, Vicky. So while this dries, I am going to go to the hair. And I'm going to start out with this Stampin' Up! Pink. Let that dry on the face. Each layer needs to dry because watercolor, as you know, will smear and get all muddy if you don't work with different layers. You have to dry first. So we're going to put pink all the way through the hair. Kind of looks like a 3-year-old in kindergarten coloring when it looks like this in this form before you actually get it all soft and like buttery. It looks like you're coloring in a coloring book with crayons. I'll show you. See how sandy and grainy that looks? And I'm just kind of quickly going to lay this color up here because the pink is what's going to be in the background of the entire hair. So it's not quite as important to be sure it's as accurate. Now, here comes the magic. Let me get my... If you want to leave the white space, you have to work outwards from the white space and push that darker pink into the edges. Like so. See how you can like leave that pink pigment on the edge by pushing the water through it? You can kind of lead it to where you want it to go. Anyway, so we're just going to melt all of that pencil into pink coloring. I gotta squeeze this and get a little bit more water out of it. Down the braid. So if I want to leave any white space here, I work this way.
The water pen you just used?
Huh?
Sue's asking, is that the water pen you just used right there?
Yes. It is a water pen. It's like a barrel of water. That you can just continue to use. I really like it because I don't have to worry about moving back and forth left and right to get water on my brush. And just squeeze it. Just work with a paper towel. So if I want to leave that white there, I work like this. And push the white away. Push the paint away from the white space. Watercolor is much more forgiving than Copic too. Because if you get any out here, you could just wet it down real good and dab it with your paper towel and it'll come up. Okay. And then I'm going to melt this one and this one. And I don't know if any of you have ever used a white watercolor, but I believe I have that as well. And that kind of helps you add shadow. Okay. Any questions?
No, not yet. Not now. Just lies with them sitting.
So I'm just melting that pigment into a nice, smooth, buttery watercolor. There, in pink. Now we're going to move to the face again. Let me get those pencils back out. Okay, we are going to use, I think I'm going to stay away from this premium one for right now and go with the Baked Earth Derwent Inktense watercolor. So we're going to put a little bit of this in here and see what it does. Oops. See what we get. You can see it's a little bit more fleshy, a little darker fleshy color tone. Come back in over here. Like I said, it's pretty forgiving. So if you get too much pigment on there, just use your brush. Pry it away from where you don't want it. There's a hair in here, James. Why do I gotta work with hairs?
From the brush.
I don't know. It's funny little black hair. Okay. And then I'm going to put a little bit of that color over here. Because you want shade around her face. Now see that was wet. And when I added the pencil to it, it melted it right away. If I were to go in, you can see I just wet that down. If I were to go in and just add a little bit of pencil to it right now, it's going to really melt it.
Kathy says she has all three mediums that you're using, but she hasn't used them in a long time.
Kathy, get them out. How fun is this? This is inspiring you, right? You're feeling to yourself, I should get this stuff out. I should play with it.
She says you make this up so easy.
It is fun, fun, fun. Don't think of it as work. This is just having fun. We're fulfilling the joy portion of our day. Okay, let's do a little bit of skin tone. We're going to go here and here. Just a little bit in the shading areas. We don't want a ton. There we go. I'm going to melt it. Water it down, whatever you want to call it. Let's see if I go out of that line, I can just grab it and move it. Isn't that awesome?
Kathy says yes, watching you is making me want to play.
Good. Get those mediums out. Kind of feel like springtime is where it's new and refreshing again outside. I kind of feel like it's a good time to start something that you haven't done in a really long time and start enjoying the stuff that you have. Look, we all spend money on things that we end up not playing with very much. And we can all probably admit to ourselves that we have stuff that's in boxes that we haven't touched in 10 years. Like I have tons and tons of those flowers that people use to really put a lot of flowers on their projects, and they just don't do it anymore. So I have to keep up with the times and try and, stay with what's popular. But I have boxes and boxes of this stuff. And in the springtime, I feel like it's time to renew and start over. So I get that stuff out and play with it. There. Okay. Now I'm going to use just, let me go back to, move these out of the way. I'm going to go back to the hair. And the next color on the hair was Hot Red. And that's an Inktense color. So, yep, I'm on camera. So we're going to use some of the Hot Red at the creases of the hair. Where the hair bunches is where the darkest portion of the hair is. Not too much, because this will really spread once you add the water. I'm still on camera, yeah. Mm-hmm. See, that was wet by that face. Do you see what that red did? It grabbed it in here on the edge, but that's okay. We're going to let that dry. So we're going to add the water. Look at how red that's turning. Oh, I love it. Move that out of there. Red is just a pigment that's not incredibly forgiving. Move that pigment around wherever you want it. Once it's wet, it moves really easily. This Derwent Inktense pencil is fantastic watercolor pencil. Love it. Okay, so we're going to add water to this section. Wipe a little bit of it off so that we can blend between the line of the pink and the red.
Did you happen to mention the type of stock you're painting on?
The paper?
Yeah.
Yes, I went completely through that while you were going nuts trying to share. Yes. I even brought the pads of paper out and showed them what they all look like. In case you're interested, I will have all of this listed at the bottom of the YouTube video stream. Everything that I used, so that you could go back and write it down and see if you want to give it a try. Okay, you can see where that red went into the skin. And I'm going to push upward and get that red out of there. Turn it this way. I'm going to get the red out of the skin and let it dry before we do any more coloring to that skin to try and fix that up. Wipe my brush dry just a little between so that I can get water and not necessarily just the red. The red really kind of spreads pretty easy. So I'm going to put some more here and really water that down, and then come by this paper towel and take that red off. See how easy that was? Another tip and trick.
Christina Robinson is here.
Hi, Christina.
She's on YouTube.
Nice to have you joining us. There. So then basically just play with it until you're super happy with it. Add some more of any tone that you want. Make sure it is the way that you want it to look. Make sure I have hot red. Yep. So we're just going to go like this with these. Because for the most part in this curl, I kind of want to just have the dark red on the ends of the hairs, either this end or this end. So we're just going to come in with a little bit of red. That lid keeps falling off. It's irritating. So swipe down, or we wet it and swipe up, and then wipe your brush so that you can really blend into that pink, just like that. I'm going to soften that line right there, wipe it, wipe it down, pull it out like this, wipe, and then wet the red. Wipe your brush and work with the light pink. See how that light pink melts into the red if you take some of that red off your brush though first, and then you can work with the pink. Pull up this way. If you get a little bit of that red in the spots that you don't want it, move that watercolor around just like you would if it was regular watercolor, not from a pencil. There. Last but not least is
Christina is saying, but pencil and water brush does not work on regular old cardstock.
no. Regular cardstock won't take the water.
Ask her how she knows.
Oh, how does she know? Does she say it on there?
Not yet.
Oh. Oh, she said, ask me how I know.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, we've all done that. That's mistake 101 with watercolor. Any paper will work. Not. We all learned that one. Some of us super hard way, like me. And then I want to just blend some of that pink. Keep that pink line there. Moving the reds up and moving the reds down, up and down. There. I'm happy. Let's show them. Oops. There. A little bit different than the last time I did it, but I spent more time on it last time. So we're going to go back to the skin tone. We're done with the hair. I'm not going to mess with the hair anymore. Red hot and pink is done. What is this color? Okay, this was face. And crimson is face. And then this was that flower. We can skip doing the flower so that we can get to the third one. What time is it? Almost 9. Carmine pink and crimson, and they're Derwent Inktense colors. So we're going to use the carmine pink first. All we're going to do is put a little bit of pink on the blush. Wipe it off. Blend that line. Wipe it off. Blend that line. Wipe it off. Melt it with the water. Wipe it off. Blend this line. And wipe it off. Come in with, this is the crimson. And it's already wet, so you're only going to put a little bit of the crimson on here. And blend, melt that crimson in. I need some water. There we go.
So you need to use a good quality paper for good results.
Yeah. This is good paper. I'm not perfectly happy with that cheek because I would want it out a little bit more, but it's super wet and we need to move on to the other pencil. But there's how look how cute she is. She's so cute. She needs a tongue. Oops. We're just going to put the color in there. Ta-da! Is she sweet? Okay. So that is number 2. I will show you. So that's the watercolor, end of the watercolor. So this is what I use for, let me put this pen thingy back on my water brush. I use one of these paper nubs and a sandpaper when I color with pencil. Because if you don't switch the color and keep it sharp, then you don't blend as well. I'm going to take this one off and move to the next one. Now, this is the Gamasol that I use. This particular brand is Spectrum Noir, but you can get this in a whole bunch of different brands. It doesn't make any difference which one you use. This is a nice 4-ounce bottle. I've had it for years. So I'm going to take this pencil nub. It says it's a number 2. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to dip it in the Gamasol. You only need to dip it once every 15 minutes or so. Then we're going to move our picture up. I'm going to choose, I didn't use the white on that other one either. I know we're running over tonight.
It's got video on it.
Huh?
You gotta show the video.
Oh, yeah. Antique white is the Derwent white that I could use. Let me just go back real quick.
Number 2 is the size of the nub.
Oh, nice. Somebody knew that. So if you put white in here on this watercolor, then you get a little bit of the lovely shine look. With white. I just wanted to show you that I had this white that really did help me when I wanted to add a little bit of the shine look to this color. So keep in mind there's a white watercolor, ladies. If you haven't been made aware of it yet, it is out there, and it makes it super easy to blend between 2 different colors. So you can see it's making that dark pink move better into the light pink and giving me that shade that I want to look. So anyway, that's what that does. Put that back away. Moving along. Where's my nub? There it is. Is that the Derwent? Yes, Derwent Inktense. There's also a white color pencil, which I will use in the end if we can get to it, if I can go fast enough. So skin tones. This is called Peach, and this is a no brand. I don't know where this actually came from. Peach and ochre. And
Mandy says she's never used Gamma Saw. What is it used for?
it's melting the wax that's inside the pigmented pencil.
So you can blend it.
So you can blend it. This is a Prismacolor. It's called Sienna Brown. I have a whole Prisma set, but I didn't use them all. And these are the reds. We'll get to the reds after we do the skin tone. So I'm going to do this peach. I'm going to go in macro speed. Now, with colored pencil, it's key that you don't push. You don't push down. All you're doing is sliding the pigment onto the paper. If you push it down, then you cannot layer because the paper will be crushed and it will not take any more layers of color. So you're just simply, what's a good analogy for sliding? It's kind of like you're sanding. You almost can hold it sideways. It feels like it's sanding. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's just sliding across and you're just adding the pigment. You're not pushing at all. Okay. So there's the first one. I'm going to use this Gamma Saw and we're going to just blend it so that you don't see, you no longer can see, after you've blended, you can't see the pencil scrapings. You're not pushing, you're just letting that Gamma Saw do its job. Okay, so that's the peach. Then we're going to move on to the next color up. It's called Ochre. We're going to put a little bit of this. Again, you are not pushing. This was a little bit more of a yellow tone that I liked. But when I added that third color in, it turned it just brown enough to look like she was a cute little tan troll, which is where I was aiming.
Christina was mentioning to make sure you get that artist quality Gamma Saw. Don't go to a hardware store and get Gamma Saw.
Yeah, could you imagine?
It's not the same.
No, and it smells really bad, the other stuff.
Yeah.
This you don't want to do. You don't want to use it anywhere near your breathing area either. I mean, you need to be careful because it is a toxic chemical. You want to use it in a nice ventilated area. There you go. And then we're going to move to the third color is a Tier de Sienna Brown. I was reading the foreign. I bet it's Spanish or something.
Fancy words.
Right? So you can see how well it really turned it into like a tan little girl. Little troll baby. Colored pencil is my least favorite. It takes a long time to manipulate the layers of color the way I like to see it. I don't know why it takes a long time, but it does. I played with that thing for hours. I don't have hours today, but I am trying to quickly show you kind of what I used and how I did it. And I want to get that peach back because I can see that I kind of want a little bit of more pink here.
UADCNA.
Yeah. Make sure they're not asking any questions, please. And then we're going to use the Gamma Sub nub. We'll call it a nub. I bet it has a formal name. Does anybody know the formal name of this tool? If you do, I'd love it if you could share. So I need some more Gamma Sol on this. I can tell that it's no longer blending very well. You just dip it in for a second. It'll soak right up into the pencil nub. And then you can really see it melting that wax. Looks really creamy, kind of like you're smearing pastel. You're no longer working with something that's coming out grainy looking.
Blending stump.
A blending stump. Who knew that?
Melanie.
Melanie. She knows everything. She knows the names of it all, too. I don't know how she keeps that in her head. I can't keep stuff like that in my head anymore, ladies. It just is, there's no room. Not sure why, but there you have it. Okay, so we're going to add some pink. I want to use this real pink, and it is a no name. And I have a Faber-Castell. That's more for hair. I'm going to do just, I think I'll just use the pink for the cheeks.
Someone told me I could use mineral spirits too.
Mineral spirits, yes. Those will do the same thing. This is not pink enough. This is not showing up. Let's use dark red. There we go. That's showing up. Who's this guy? Oh, polychromos. That's a really nice colored pencil. I think I have all set, and I just don't use them very often. Okay. We're going to get the stump again, blending stump. And we're just going to make it look like a creamy little cheek. She's so cheeky. She's sweet. Let's add a little bit of the polychromos up in her forehead to give her a little bit more of a flashy feel. I like it when you have a little bit of pink in the flash. Makes it look more realistic. What do you think, Mr. Conlo?
Sure.
Sure. Why not? What do you say, dear? Okay. There's the skin tone. Oop. Let's see how close we can get it up there. Actually did better this time than I did last night. I like it. Hey, Mikey. Okay. So, see, I do this for fun. I don't do this for any other reason. I don't really need to add any white.
I use the blending stuff for regular pencil and charcoal pencils too.
Let's choose the colors for the hair. What did I use? Probably this one and this one. And then the flower was made out of these, which we won't do tonight so that I can actually get to showing you how these two. We might end up about 20 minutes. What's into that? 9:09? Mm-hmm. So maybe a little more than 20 minutes over, depending on how quickly I can get this one done. So while I put this pink on, James is going to show you the video of how my studio went in. How fun is that? I can't wait. Ready, steady, go. Playing the music?
Yeah.
You don't need to hear me? He's shrugging his shoulders, lady, so I don't know if you can hear me or not. Hopefully the music is playing. Awesome. So I'm still on mute?
No.
Oh, he took me off mute. That was awesome. I hope you all enjoyed that. How many hours were they here, James? 4?
It was, well, long on that, but it was 4.5 hours of video compressed and edited down to 4 minutes.
4 hours, 4.5 hours compressed down to 4 minutes of a video. And that's awesome. He edited like it sounded like a bumblebee kind of music. So I have done the lighter pink all the way through the hair. That is the studio, ladies, in case I know you guys, a lot of you have been asking about it.
Lots of room.
Huh? Yeah. So I added the pink all the way through, and then I took and put the red in the same sections that we were working from before. And now I'm just going to kind of blend the pink into the red and melt that wax that's in the pencil. You want the darker colors to be where the hair gathers, just like normal coloring. I wipe it off. Sharpen it a little bit, get rid of that color. And blend. You can always tell when your Gamma-Sol stops melting the pigment. Add a little bit more. Plus, when you scrape and sand a little bit of that nub, blending nub, you take some of that Gamma-Sol off as well. So just keep it nice and juicy with the Gamma-Sol. I've asked the design team to do some really interesting coloring work for the month of May. So you're going to see a lot of different coloring. I also asked that they do some projects that combine some of the stamp sets that we have, because there's absolutely no reason whatsoever why you couldn't have one of the little turtles from Turtlicious sitting in a scene as one of these little troll babies, because they are perfectly sized to go together. And they work really well together. So I want to, now that I've blended, I want to kind of put some of this white in. And I want to kind of melt that white. So you get that.
Vicky says she has some gamma side evaporate in a plastic bottle. Now she uses glass.
Yeah, it will evaporate if the lid isn't on the correct way. I had the same issue. So if I want any of the sheer and the shine put back into the hair, I noticed that the colored pencils really do kind of take that away. But you can add white back in there and add that shine back in. And that's it, ladies. Let's see. I'm trying to get this close enough to you. And then all I really did to get this white was grab one of my gel. And that's another thing I noticed with this colored pencil and the Gamma coloring, your gel pens don't all work. I had to kind of play around and see if I could get one of the gel pens to work. Nope, it isn't going to today. Oh, here, a little bit. But you can see I did get it to work over here eventually. You just have to kind of play with them a little bit. But that's how I did it. And that is 3 different skin and hair color tones. James, could you move it to the camera that's a little wider so that I can lay all 3 of these out and show you what they look like? We are going to do some more coloring next week. I hope maybe I'll stick a project in between the coloring and we can finish with the little dress in all 3 different tones or all 3 different mediums. So we could get her finished up and we could work with pleats because she has a ton of those in here. And we could definitely use a few of the other techniques that I've learned in my experience doing coloring. And maybe share to get you ladies motivated and inspired to do some of your own coloring. So we're going to go to the front camera. Okay, there we go. Hi. Oh, I have my glasses off again. I can't see any of you. Not that I can see you anyway, but that's a joke. So we are going to choose number 18. He's going to look at his combined page. And whoever is comment number 18 is going to get a $10 gift certificate to the store. I want you to, James, put the email address, tlccunliffe@yahoo.com, down at the bottom. So who is number 18?
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Steph Ackerman.
Oh, Steph Ackerman. I don't know that we should choose a design team member. Let's Steph gets everything she needs. If you need something extra stuff, just call me up. So let's pick somebody that's not a DT member. Let's go one up from Stephanie's. Okay, hang on. We're moving it.
She did say choose someone else.
Yeah, I figured she would.
Okay, is this person a
What's the name?
look on the screen, can you see?
No, she's not.
Okay.
Joyce Reed Parks. Yay! Congratulations, Joyce. I hope you're still with us. You do have to be present in order to win. I want you to email me and let me know that you're a winner for tonight. And it's a $10 gift certificate to the store. I have some design paper coming out, ladies. You guys are going, it's crushing to not be able to use this design paper yet because I just have to have another 10 hours in the day to get this set going, but I'm in love with it. And part of it is that stuff that we used last week, I think it was last week, on the Alicorn with the blue little beautiful daisies. Oh, can't wait. There's a bunch of different colored papers that are going to come out that have that daisy that I drew and colored in Procreate. So this was a real pleasure. I'm so sorry it took a little bit longer than I thought. I did try and minimize to hair and skin tones, but as you get in there, you kind of a little bit of OCD, and I, want everything to look exactly the way it is. But I hope it inspires you, ladies, to actually get some of those mediums out that you don't play with very often. Hone your skills a little. It's a challenge. Watch a few YouTube videos and take what you learn and bring it into your crafting time. I know I get a great deal of joy sharing this information with you every week and having you along with the journey to live creatively that I've decided to do. So I hope that you all stay safe, and we will see you again next Thursday. We have some dies and papers and stamps coming in, so it's going to be a really good May. We're also going to be running a design team call very soon. I'm looking for between 6 and 8 women that can devote their time to doing 3 different projects per month. And there'll be more information once I have the design team called Graphic Design, and we'll send that out. So thank you so much. Please stay safe. We will see you soon. Bye. Is it off?
No,
He was typing.
I was typing.
Bye. See you soon.